Hello, this is Angi Burns, the owner and publisher of the Burns Team City Lifestyle, and welcome to City Lifestyle with Angi Burns. We love to celebrate the best-in-class businesses, the organizations making a difference in our community, and the individuals who are making an impact on our residents here in our area. Hello, and welcome back to City Lifestyle with Angi Burns. My guest today is my friend Jennifer, who is a local divorce attorney here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in North Texas. And she's going to be diving into all of the myths, rumors, all the things that have to do with what do you do whenever you have made the decision to go through with a divorce. So before we start that, I would like you to introduce yourself and a little bit about your business and how you got into practicing law, specifically divorce law. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay, divorce law is fun. It's something different every day. I have been practicing for 16 years. I always knew I wanted to be in the courtroom, and it gives you the opportunity to be in the courtroom, but we're not fighting for someone's liberty. It's not criminal law. We're not talking about radiculopathy and disc herniations. We're talking about something that's so close and personal. We're talking about people's families. Yeah. Everyone has one. And so I can just easily relate to people. And that's how I chose family law.
So you've been an attorney for 16 years. Has it always been in the divorce law area?
No, I tried those other practice areas. I tried criminal law. And when someone's liberty is at stake, it's just that there's a lot.
It is.
And so I didn't really enjoy that very much. And, you know, when you're defending someone and you don't know if they're guilty or innocent, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And so I was very conflicted. I would literally be prosecuting during the day under the Georgia Third Year Practice Act whenever I was in law school. And then in the evenings, I would go to the Georgia Innocence Project to try to help people that were incarcerated.
Yeah.
No.
The
people that were incarcerated try to get out of jail based on DNA evidence that wasn't available at the time of their conviction. And so I'm like putting people in jail, getting people out of jail, which is really conflicted. Yes. Didn't love it. And then I worked for an insurance company as staff counsel. And we're talking about, slip and falls and auto accidents, and it just wasn't, it was boring.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something that I knew mattered.
So is there a type of client that you look for specifically? Like, do you do more moms than dads, or is there anybody in particular that you look for, or are you just kind of like anybody who is going through this process, I want to help?
Anybody going through this process, I want to help. I will say the people that have kids, that is where I really thrive. I have a child. I've done the single mom thing, and we are fighters in court, especially when it comes to kids. That's close to my heart. And so,
absolutely. Yeah. Do you find that a lot of people say Texas is not a father-friendly state? Do you find that to be true, or what is the myth and the actual fact behind that?
I've definitely heard that, and it's definitely a myth. I've represented plenty of fathers and gotten them custody, and I will say I love representing dads because when you win them custody, it's like you walked on water. They just feel so great. When you have this good dad who deserves it, and who's present and showing up. The law, you're not allowed to give preference to either gender. It's all supposed to be the best interest of the child. And so I understand that people think that it's always going to just be, oh, moms get custody. But I really love when I'm able to win custody for a dad to show that, look, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right. Yeah. It's all what's the best interest of the child, no matter who that may be. I love that. So tell us a little bit more about, in the process of going through a divorce. It's hard. I've been there, done that.
Me too.
My husband and I got divorced and then got remarried.
Ooh.
So I've actually technically been married 3 times, but twice was to the same person. So that's a whole nother podcast. So
I love it.
we'll go to that later. But when in the process should someone consult an attorney? Because I know you and I are both on a lot of moms groups on Facebooks, and we see a lot of people that are like, I'm considering leaving my husband, or I'm considering filing for divorce, or I just found out that my husband was cheating. Or when do you actually seek an attorney?
I think before you make a decision. information changes situations. And a lot of times, you're afraid to make a move because you don't know what your options are, what divorce might look like. And so I think being informed at the point in your relationship where you may have tried counseling and things just aren't getting better, consult with an attorney and figure out how would this look and is this something I want to go through? Consulting with an attorney doesn't divorce you.
Right.
It just gives you information. And so I think that's your first step is to find out, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So to find out how divorce looks for you, what happens with the kids, what happens with the property, how do I make ends meet? And I think at the point that you start questioning your relationship, meeting with an attorney is a good first step.
That's one of the things that breaks my heart so much whenever I'm doom scrolling through Facebook is I see all of these moms that are saying, I don't have access to the bank account. I don't have any money for an attorney. I don't even know what money we have. I stay at home. I haven't had a job in 15 years. So what is your advice for someone in that type of situation? So obviously get a consultation, but should they be saving money? Is it possible for someone to get a divorce when they're in that situation?
A stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad? Yes, it is, because in Texas, there's a presumption that everything you have is community. And so that bank account, even if I'm staying at home and I haven't put anything into it, I've been using my time at home doing other things. And so half of all of that money, presumptively, is mine as well. And so you can use that for your consultation. You have funds available to you.
Yeah, you just may not know how to access them at that point.
Exactly.
So is that something that an attorney helps them figure out?
Definitely. And there's standing orders in many of the counties that I practice in that basically put a pause on things so that no one is depleting their 401k or denying your access to credit cards and doing things like that upon you filing for divorce. Some protections automatically go into place that are kind of just going to freeze things. Let's slow it down so that you're not getting, your health insurance is canceled all of a sudden.
What advice would you give people getting into marriage? Because there's a big, I'm a big Love is Blind fan, and there's every season, there is a situation where somebody brings up a prenup. And they're like, oh, prenups mean you don't trust our relationship, or prenups mean, I am a big advocate for a prenup, especially nowadays when the divorce percentages are so high. You never know what's going to happen in the future. And as much as we would love to be wishful thinking that it's going to be all rainbow sunshine and butterflies, that may not be the case.
Right.
And if you have assets going into the marriage, then those should be protected. So what is your stance as a divorce attorney of a prenuptial agreement? And if there isn't one in place, I know it's a very complex, long question at this point. If there isn't one in place, how can you protect yourself going into the process?
I definitely recommend a prenup because if you haven't decided amongst yourselves how things are going to be divided, it's going to be based on the Texas Family Code and what the legislator has said is appropriate. And so no, I understand the argument that, prenups aren't sexy or,
they're not at all. But
prenups mean you don't love each other. But I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
For example, when you get in a vehicle, you put on a seatbelt. You're not expecting to get in an accident, but these are precautions that are put in place for a reason. And that's what a prenuptial agreement is. Yeah. It can dictate what's going to happen in the event of a divorce with, property that you have or that you are going to acquire or this business that you're going to start. You don't want to limit yourself to what the Texas law allows. And so a prenuptial agreement allows you to go outside of that and be creative. I've seen prenuptial agreements that say, look, if we're together for 10 years, then spousal maintenance is going to be X amount. If we're together for 20 years, it's Y amount. And so you kind of already have it outlined. And so someone's not with you for your money. It's for love. So it's almost the opposite, right? A prenup shows that you love somebody.
Yeah. I agree with that. And that's the sentiment I've always taken as well, is that, you can use it to benefit the relationship so everybody is comfortable and everybody doesn't have that in the back of their mind.
Why are you with me?
Why are you with me is I know they're not with me for my money because they're not going to get it if something goes wrong.
Right.
So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So you had mentioned spousal support as you can put in a prenup. What is standard in Texas? I've heard 10 years. I've heard there's nothing. I've heard that, what is the actual fact that the state legislature has said this is how Texas spousal support goes?
Okay, well, they didn't ask me, but I think it's awful. So spousal maintenance is very limited here. And I practiced in Virginia as well. So I'll kind of give you an example, to show you the difference and how limited it is in Texas. It is available. It's just very limited. It's limited in the amount that you can receive, how long you can receive it, and how you can get it. And so in Texas, to receive spousal maintenance, it's to meet your minimum reasonable needs. So think roof over your head, food in your belly. That's what may be available to you. And so let's say that you believe your minimum reasonable needs are $2,000. And then the court looks at it and they're like, no, I think what's reasonable is $1,500 a month. And so then they're like, oh, you can work at McDonald's and make $1,200 a month. So now we're looking at a spousal maintenance claim of maybe $300 a month, maybe. Right. Okay. And so it's just to meet those minimum reasonable needs. Now in Virginia, by contrast, it's to maintain the standard of living that was established during the marriage.
Right.
So if you're married to someone that's very wealthy, I get my nails changed every day to match my outfit and all of that. You could keep living that way for the rest of your life. It's not limited in duration or amount. And it's just, you can keep
I think there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere. Like, I think what should happen is probably not quite to that extent, because then I think that you do come into finding a bunch of people who are just like, oh, I'm going to get married and then divorce so that I can have that spousal maintenance and live off that.
Yes.
But then at the same time, there are women and men who get into a relationship, they become the homemakers, they don't work, they're not the provider in the financial sense, but they're the provider in the emotional sense. They're the provider in the household. I tried to be a stay-at-home mom for a whole 4 months. That's as long as it lasted.
It's hard.
I was like, I can't do this. This is
hard.
not that is too hard for me. I am not built for that. And I have mad respect for the women and the men that do. My husband actually was a stay-at-home dad for 9 months, and he was great at it. Like, he does the dishes, he does the laundry, he does all the things. And I'm like, I was like, no, I'm not going to do all that.
I love it.
He loves it. And he's like, no, I get to pick my son up. I get to do all the things. He loved that. That is not for me. But for people who choose to do that, I do agree that there should be something to pay them back, or at least show the respect for the time that they served in that role.
I agree.
Because they don't have the ability to have a 401k necessarily in their name, because they're not working a job that has that option.
And your resume is out of date.
Right.
You've advanced your career while I've been at home doing this. And so now we're going to divorce, and you're going to have all of this money available to you that you grew because I was doing everything back home.
Yeah, because if I wasn't doing that, then you wouldn't have been able to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. You would have been home. You wouldn't have been able to go on that trip that advanced your career and things like that. And so, yes, I agree that there is some medium in between Virginia and Texas. But Texas is very limited. And then, people, just like with the, father's rights and, with custody, they also have that misinformation about spousal maintenance, thinking that, it's just not available in Texas. And it is. Yeah. It's in the family code under Chapter 8, but it's just very limited. As far as amount goes, it's limited to $5,000 a month or 20% of the obligor, the paying party's income. And so that's the max. That does not mean that that's what you're going to get in court. And in fact, I've never seen a court award that.
Wow.
And so for a 10-year marriage, you can get up to 5 years of spousal maintenance. Again, that's the max. And I've never
5 years.
And I've never seen the court award it.
Wow.
And so, again, to meet your minimum reasonable needs, do you need $5,000 a month? Or can I give you payments for maybe 6 months while you
get on your feet and find a job?
You find something. And so the state of Texas doesn't want to, pay for your survival, but they also don't want this ex-spouse to be,
responsible
forever.
For that, Yes.
Yeah. And so, it's limited.
Yeah. Is it the same with child support?
Child support, the Office of the Attorney General has made child support very easy. You can just go on Google and type in child support calculator, Texas child support calculator. And it's going to just be based on the obligor's income. Mm-hmm. We're going to give them credit for, if they're paying like health insurance and things like that, or if they have kids that aren't in that lawsuit. But it's just a simple formula. So sometimes people want to negotiate over child support. And I'm like, I don't understand the point of that.
Right.
This is
because it's standard. It's going to be the same no matter what.
Guideline child support. There are ways to deviate, but it's just.
Does it have to be agreed upon?
The deviation doesn't, but there needs to be some extenuating circumstances. My child's an Olympic athlete. My child has special needs.
Right.
This amount that the legislator has said is appropriate
won't work in our
doesn't work
situation.
for our situation.
Right.
And so for child support for one child, it's going to be 20% of the obligor's income.
And that does not include if they are married, right? It doesn't take in the spouse. A lot of people think that, oh, well, they married a really rich person, so I'm going to get part of that now.
No, that really rich person wasn't there for the fun.
Right,
and so they're not going to be there for the obligations that stem from that fun.
Yeah.
And so that's really gross to say.
But it's true.
Yeah. So no, they aren't responsible. And it's just going to be based on the obligor's net resources. So I say income, but it's really your net resources. So, if you have rental property, you're getting money from that.
Yeah.
And so that'll all be included. The legislator actually just this last September upped the cap that they use to calculate child support. So it used to be $9,200 a month. That's not how much you're getting. That's how much they would say your net resources could equal.
Wow.
Yeah. And now it's $11,700. So it's gone up. But what that means is someone who makes $1 billion a month is going to pay the same amount of child support as someone who makes
$150,000 a month.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's child support.
That is very interesting. You have so much, you're like a cornucopia of information. I love it. Thank you. So if somebody is coming in to do a consultation with you, what do they need to have? What do they need to already be prepared with to sit down with you and figure out next steps?
Well, sometimes they don't have information at all. And that's why we have a process that's called discovery. There's hidden accounts and things like that. We can discover all of those. And so whenever someone comes to meet with me, what I ask them to bring with them is just an open mind because you're now imagining your life in a way that you never did before. No one gets married thinking that they're going to get divorced.
And it's hard. Do you find yourself almost being like a therapist at the same time?
A little bit. Maybe that's
but
why
not practicing therapy. That's illegal. We're not doing that.
Right.
But practicing law is almost in this situation.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen many, many tears, seen many people who don't want to be in the situation, who are in the situation. You have to very carefully navigate that.
Yes. We have tissue in my office because I tell them it's an emotional process. You're going to go through the emotional side, but legally we want to make sure that you're protected. I will say when I opened my firm, I had someone that came to meet with me and, she told me later on as we worked through her case, she was talking to her counselor before coming to meet us and she was so nervous. And her counselor's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're not going to have tissue. I had just opened my law firm. I didn't have tissue.
Oh my gosh.
And this was an emotional consult. Yeah. My receptionist went and grabs her a roll of toilet paper. I'm mortified.
You're like, and we will have tissue from now on.
Yes. And so now we have so much tissue.
Yes.
On every desk, there's tissue. It can be emotional, but legally you're going to be protected. And so I ask that someone just come with an open mind because, I haven't even wrapped my head around visitation and, custody.
And there's a lot of things that you don't think about whenever you're going through this. And that's what's so helpful about having an experienced and knowledgeable attorney fighting for you is you don't have to know everything.
Right. That's the point.
Right. That's why you hire an attorney. And okay, last question. Tell me your thoughts on people who are like, oh, I can just file it online. There's a form for that. Or I can go, pro se, and I can represent myself. What are your pros and cons there?
Well, Abraham Lincoln said that a person that represents themselves is a fool for a client. I'm not calling anyone a fool, but I do think that...
But Abraham Lincoln did.
Abraham Lincoln did, yes. And so I don't recommend it. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I've been divorced. Mm-hmm. And even as a divorce attorney going through it, I hired an attorney.
Right.
I wasn't going to be a fool, right?
Yeah.
Because no matter how smart you are, how much you understand it, you're too close to it.
Right.
It's hard to see the forest through the trees kind of thing.
Right.
And so, and also me cross-examining my ex on the witness stand would be really awkward. And then you did this.
And petty. Yeah.
And then you did,
I would be too petty.
Yeah.
I would ask things that are not allowed in the courtroom, right?
Or not relevant at all.
Or not relevant.
Do you remember that one fight?
Yeah, I just wanted to know the real answer to this. And now that you can't lie, that would be me.
Exactly. So I hired someone whenever I was going through it. So I always recommend that. And I have also found there have been people that have come to me after they filed stuff pro se, and now you're spending more money because I have to read what you filed, see if it's legally sound, and it almost never is. And then I have to go and amend that pleading.
Right.
So you're actually paying more money than if you had just had it done.
Yeah.
I don't want to say correctly the first time, but yes. And then you don't know what you don't know. I've also had people who have come to me with their final divorce decree. And, it says that they're going to, party A is going to get the house. Great. And so we're signing a special warranty deed giving them the house. Well, you didn't know that you also need to get off the note. They need to refinance. And so now you're stuck on a house that you have no right, title, and interest to. Yeah. And you just, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I've had, another person come to me where they had been married for 10 months. And he had made a change to a divorce decree after it had been signed before it was put up to the court, and just perjured himself and just lied to the court, duty of candor and stuff like that. He ended up agreeing to split his retirement in half for a 10-month marriage. Wow. So it doesn't always work out whenever you represent yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell people how they can get a hold of you, and if they would like a consultation or to learn more about you or whatever it is that they may need your services for, tell them the best way to reach you.
Okay. Well, if you have an issue with custody, child support, divorce, prenups, adoption, anything family law, you can reach us at 214-646-3253. And that is Illinois law, but we are rebranding, and so it'll be
very exciting for the rebrand. We're going to do a big announcement with City Lifestyle on what her rebrand is, so that'll be fun.
Should I wait?
Looking forward to that.
Should I wait to say it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay.
Do you want to announce now, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. I guess I'll announce now.
Okay.
So it's either going to be the JM Law Group or the Jennifer Michelle Law Group, because a divorce attorney needs to have options. I need to be able to change that name, that last name. As frequently as I need to.
Yeah, there we go. Love that. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. And thank you, Jennifer, for being our guest. And we will see you all next time.
Thank you.
If you are looking for the best place to market your business to our local community, we are a nationwide brand, so we have over 200 publications across the nation, and we really do value high editorial integrity, beautiful photography, and making sure that your story is told in a respectable and beautiful way. So if you would like to learn more about how to become an advertising partner of City Lifestyle Publications, feel free to reach out to us, because we are your ticket in the door to get you face-to-face with your next client.